Alright, evening everyone. For those who haven't had me before, you'll see on everything my name is Anwin, but pretty much all students call me Annie. I'm going to share my screen now so you can put a face to the name. So just to give it a second, there we go. Hi guys, this is me. So I'll be taking you guys for media studies this semester. Some of you might have me for Journ another semester, NCTE, so I take multiple modules across the BA degree, and I've been working in the distance space for a while and absolutely love it. And so I'm your go-to for all things media, journalism, all that kind of thing. All right, so hopefully we'll get to know each other over this next semester, have a bit of fun in our collabs, share our frustrations over random things happening in the world. But this is our space to chat about what's going on with the world, anything to do with media, and obviously what's happening within the theory of our module and making it relate to real world. Because if we don't relate it to the real world, what's the point? We need to know how this theory, how this stuff actually makes sense, so that you're not just studying it for nothing. It's got to be worth something to you guys. So yeah, this is me for those who haven't had me before, but I'm looking forward to the semester ahead with you guys. All right, let me switch the camera off because I'm looking rather tired this evening. So would rather not have my face plastered across everything. All right. So I know tonight is your first night of collabs. I know the chances are, you haven't had the capacity or ability yet to look through content and material because obviously it's your first week. Have you guys got your textbooks yet or anything yet, just to know where you stand and what you have in terms of media studies, so that I'm on the same page as you guys? Again, I know it's your first collab, well, your first day of collabs, so I'm not expecting everyone to have worked through everything as yet, obviously. I just wanted to know how we're all going. If you, just to add, if you have ordered a textbook, or if you haven't ordered a textbook, should I say, as well, there's the digital copy. Oh dear. Can the rest of you hear me? Just so I know. Okay, I'm at you. Log out and back in. There we go. Cool. Oh, Kyrie, so you the same. Okay. The collab so I recognize some names from last year, but collab does sometimes glitch a little bit and sound doesn't come through. I know it can be annoying, but if you just log out and log back in, it generally then works, no problem. All right. So like I was trying to say, that if you haven't got a textbook, have got a textbook, there is a digital, sorry, stumbling over my words after a long day of lectures. There is a digital copy within the OneDrive, which I'm going to speak to now. You are also able to access it via VC Learn. Through EBSCOhost, there's also the digital copy is there, but the full copy is also in the OneDrive that I have set up for you guys. So it is accessible. I'm going to say these words very carefully. When it comes time to the assignment and you're wanting to paraphrase and work through content, you're able to very carefully copy and paste, but then rework it, reword it, and what have you, rather than sitting with the textbook next to you, typing it out word for word, which obviously can be very tedious when you guys have got so many assignments on your plate. Okay. So again, I know some of you have been in class with me before. This isn't your first year. For some of you, well, you all should be second or third year. Is that correct? There's no one that's doing something very out of sync and not doing second year, seeing so this is technically a second year module. All right. If you are, just let me know if there's something that I'm missing the boat on. But the whole point, what was I getting to? You should be familiar with VC Learn and everything. I'm just going to show you where the OneDrive link is and everything for me and ICE tasks and what have you. Tonight's more about just laying the foundation, making sure everyone has access to everything, making sure if there's any questions you may have, what you should be starting to work on with the material, just basically touching base and making sure you're comfortable with everything. Okay. Guys, feel free to put your mics on if you want to ask me something and you find it easier talking it out than typing it. Otherwise, please feel free to use the chat function. It's, gets boring when I'm only hearing my voice and not getting anything back in terms of even just the chat. It's always better for us if, we have some dialogue going in some way, shape, or form. In saying that, you guys probably would have noticed on the WhatsApp group that I had admins only. I just wanted to be able to chat to you guys first, lay all the foundation, and then I can swap it over to everyone being able to chat and ask questions. I do have a very open door policy, in that if you message me and I'm not in the middle of something, if I'm not lecturing on campus, or if I'm not doing something to do with my family or whatever have you in the evening, I will reply. So if sometimes I might leave you on blue tick, I don't take that off because it is my private number as well. It's not because I'm ignoring you, it's because I will read the message and I will reply to it as soon as I possibly can. But like I said in the announcement, try email me, or like I said, I will take the admins only off on the WhatsApp group, which I know we do always rely heavily on, but just to ask that we, remain nice to one another, we are respectful of one another, and that, we don't attack one another, because the moment that happens, then we go back to admins only. Are we all good with that? Everyone down with respect? Just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. I'll share the WhatsApp group with you now. It's also if you look at the first announcement, there you go. I put the links for everything in that first announcement, and then I will keep repeating them as well. So the link is there. The link is there for the OneDrive, WhatsApp, YouTube, Collab. Even though, because we're only one group at the moment, sorry, my voice again. Because we're only one group at the moment, and you guys are group one, you will always be able to join via course room. If we have others join us in another group, they will still go via your course room, because that's what I've set up first. Okay, so that is the link for the WhatsApp group. This is the link for the OneDrive, just in case anyone wants it in front of them. So how I work, guys, for those who don't know, is that I put everything into the OneDrive for you. I'm going to show you a link for it in a moment. I'm going to open it up, should I say, and share my screen with you. I put everything in there because there have been times in the past where VC Learn goes down unexpectedly. It's an international software. They don't tell us. We all find out last minute. And I like you having accessibility all the time. So if your assignment's released, your pass, your timetables, everything, I put everything into that OneDrive for you. It's under student resources, and the reason why I don't just give you the link just for media studies or whichever module I take you for is because I have some students doing multiple modules for me, and then to go and try give them different passwords each time, it just gets very complicated, which isn't fair. So I just do one big OneDrive. So I'm just going to show you guys now. I'll share my screen with you. So if you have a look here, it will eventually come up. I'm just watching it your side. There we go. All right. So here you can see if it'll take you to student resources. You'll see the modules here that you all have access to. Here is your Collab schedule with all your dates, your yearly timetable in terms of when exams are, when second semester starts, that nice little sneaky thing being referencing. I've put the guide there for you, so if you are battling to access access VC Learn and you can't get into the library, it's there for you. And then if you go to Media Studies, you'll see I've just put the Learning Unit 1's notes in for now, just to not overwhelm you with all the learning units. I will be uploading those during the week. But you'll see here you have your pass. You'll see there that there is the on-campus one as well. That's purely because I do lecture on campus and I give them the same access. So please just make sure you stick to the distance ones, because you guys are obviously running out of sync with the traditional first semester modules. So your pass has media studies and the second semester modules where theirs doesn't. Here is the textbook that I talked about, and here's your module outline. So you can see everything is there. Everything that you need access to is in that OneDrive. I have put there the password for it. It's just so that it's only students that have access to it and no one random. Okay, so everything that you need should go in there. If there's any extra resources that I want for you guys or anything, I will put it there. Okay. Any questions on that? Does that make sense? I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast. Just obviously want to get everything in your heads, make sure you're comfortable with everything. So is anyone having issues with accessing the OneDrive? I had a student earlier say that they weren't getting in via their VC OneDrive access. So I did just tell them to try use a different browser, because sometimes if you're using Chrome or Edge, sometimes it blocks it. So you can go to, if you use a different one, often that works. Okay. Everyone okay with that? You know, you can just give a thumbs up or a yes or anything, just so I know that it's all making sense in there. Okay. All right. So these, obviously, you guys are here tonight, but all these collabs are recorded. There is the YouTube channel, so you'll see everything gets loaded up there. So if for some reason you can't make it, it's not a problem. Never gonna make you feel bad for, you know, other commitments and what have you. But what I would say is, if you do have to miss a collab, go and listen, because generally what I do in my collabs is whatever is the most important content of that that learning unit or whatever we're covering, I'll go into detail in that and answer questions, give you insight, tell you where the focus should be, how that particular section relates to your portfolio when it gets released, all those kinds of things. So it's important to make sure that you do listen to the recordings, because I do give insights into the specifics of certain learning units. I've lectured this module for a very long time, involved in the development of it and everything, so I know the content well. So I do use these collabs to share that knowledge with you guys. So, but like I said, life does happen, things get in the way, and you know, sometimes it's just impossible for you to be here, which again, not gonna, you know, you don't need to often get messages saying I'm really sorry and all that. It's absolutely fine. Just, you know, touch base with either watching the recording, or if you have a question later on, then obviously you can ask me via WhatsApp or email. Okay. Everyone okay so far? Is this all making sense? Not overwhelming you too much? I feel always the first one's always like jamming as much info as possible. Okay, perfect. I'm going to share my screen with you again. So I'm going back to, obviously my VC Learn is going to look different from yours. It's really been a long day, guys. it's going to look different. I'm just going to take my edit mode off just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Some of you might not have had access to VC Learn yet, but just to say that if you, again, linking you guys as much as possible to make sure you have access to everything. Obviously, your learning units are super important. That's where all your content is in terms of active learning, what you need to work through. But you will see here your ICE activities are there. Your module resources are here, as well as your collab recordings link. So the links are all there. So here are your ICE tasks. These are the ones that I thought were most relevant to what you guys are doing. You'll notice if you go to your learning units, there are only 4 learning units. So when you're thinking about breaking up this content, and if you think about how you're going to pace yourself through the semester, it's not like other modules where you have to do a learning unit a week. This is more a learning unit every 2 to 3 weeks because there are less, but it's just a lot more in depth. So don't try and rush through and try to think you can get through an entire learning unit in a week. You will overwhelm yourself. There will be too much information. It's not worth it. So rather take it slow. Think about where you're going. Obviously, your first learning unit, you will probably have to go a little bit faster, just in terms of deadlines for your first part, which, as I checked on Friday, they hadn't released it, the PDF version. So I will look again this evening to see if it's been released. I do look every other day until everything's released again to upload to the OneDrive for you guys. So you'll probably end up going through the first learning unit a bit quicker and then slow down for the others. The first one is shorter than the rest. Also, for those who have done Journ 1, you'll notice repetition, or Journ 6221. Not repetition in a bad way, but it's talking about the history of SA media. So obviously, there's going to be similarities there. If you haven't done Journ yet, it's not going to be a disadvantage to you because, you know, there is differences between media and Journ, but it just means for those that have, if you want to use your textbooks or whatever, that resources available to you. Again, if you go to more resources, if you click on this link, it'll take you to the OneDrive, and this one will take you to the recordings. So in terms of VC Learn, your learning units, more resources are very important, as well as your quick links and obviously your assessment submissions. You guys will notice that if you go do your declaration this year, it's slightly different. If you go and click on it, I don't know if anyone's gone through it with you guys yet, but if you actually go and, you know, if you're one of those people that go and get it done right at the beginning, you'll notice there's different things in here in terms of including AI, what you have to acknowledge before going forward. Okay, so just make sure you look through it carefully, because obviously referencing is super important in terms of every module that you do. Okay, all right, so that's our VC Learn. Any questions or anything you want clarity on before I move on to assignments and what have you? Okay. Guys, like I've said, I am very much a please rather ask me questions and interrupt me than leave it. I do have a policy that there is no such thing as a stupid question. And I don't say that lightly, because reality is if you are thinking it, someone else in class is thinking it. Because if there's a little bit of confusion, you're not going to be the only one. So I'd rather you ask the questions, get the clarity. Again, if you're not comfortable asking on the WhatsApp group, and because you maybe feel that it's not something you should be asking or what have you, then you can privately send me a message. That's absolutely fine. But if you think it's something that's going to benefit the whole class or the whole group, then just put it on the group, and I promise I will answer as quickly as possible and with as much clarity as possible, because I know that can be a problem. Yeah, I just done a double check while chatting to you guys, and the POE isn't out yet. This one, I noticed there were 2 articles in the folder along with the Learning One slides. Okay, so those articles, Jamie Lee, are additional sources that I've found that have helped students in the past when it comes to understanding some of the laws and the regulations and all that in terms of media within South Africa during the apartheid era. So they will help you with your assignment when the assignment gets released, but they're more just additional resources to help you along, because it's always important for you guys to have more than one source when it comes to your assessments. So I've always just included those 2 because they're ones that I've found, because obviously when we're talking about apartheid era media, you're not going to find the most up-to-date. You might be finding articles from or journals from the 60s and 70s and 90s and all that, and they're going to be appropriate. So those are just 2 that I've found in the past that I found have helped students, so I've just put them in there for you guys. Okay. Pleasure. That's what I'm here for, to try and make you guys' lives a little bit easier at least, because studying is not easy. Okay. So in terms of your mentioning your assignment and your POE, like I said, it hasn't been loaded yet. What you'll notice is that it will hopefully be released soon, but where in the past you would have got a part and a POE, 2 separate documents, it's all going to be in one document now. So you're going to have one big assessment document which will cover your assignment as well as your final POE, so your formative and your summative. And what you'll notice in there is that there will be part 1, 2, 3, 4, however many parts there are, and your assignment will just be part 1. There are going to be very clear instructions on the front of the document, but in terms of looking at it and thinking, why is there only one? Don't panic. That's how it's meant to be. You guys will only be submitting a section of it for your assignment, and then the rest of the document for your POE. Okay, so just how media studies particularly works, it works on the premise of 3 different things being submitted. Your ICE, obviously, so we've had a look at that, and then it is your part, which is your formative, like your assignment, and then your POE. The ICE counts for 10%, like it normally does. Okay, then your part, your assignment counts 20%, and that portfolio counts 70%. So the heaviest weighting does go to the portfolio in terms of your marks, because the part is only a portion of that whole document. So don't, if anything goes wrong with your part and you don't do as well as you wanted to, or you thought your marks would be higher, or whatever it may be, don't panic. I'm not reducing the importance of it, but your portfolio is where you can make your big comeback and do really well. I think I'm a strict but fair marker in terms of material. I'm all for additional resources. I'm all for research. I always give you guys a little bit of leniency when it comes to word count, to make sure, because often those that are pushing that word count, it's generally those that are finding a lot of extra resources. So I generally give like a 10% leeway, but that's me personally. You can't go and then use that for your other lecturers, because they don't necessarily do that. So just be aware of that. But I do try and give you guys that buffer. All right. What else do you guys want to know with regards to media studies? Like I said, I know it's the first lecture. Has anyone had a chance to look at Learning Unit 1 at all? Oh, and I'm all for full transparency. So if you guys haven't done anything, just tell me, and I adjust accordingly, because there's no point me like discussing the Learning Unit with you guys, and you all sitting there going, I have no idea what she's talking about. So have you guys had a chance to look through it? or is it something that you are getting to, should I say? Okay, cool. All right. That's, like I say, guys, totally understandable. What I want to just then do is more give you guidance in terms of Learning Unit 1 as you guys are going to be starting to work through it. And then what we'll do in our next collab is then I will go into more detail in Learning Unit 1 because, like I said, we do have more time to break things down because we're not trying to rush a learning unit a week or like a few learning units each collab. We'll be able to spend a couple collabs per learning unit. Before I get into what I want you guys to focus on for Learning Unit 1, just to say that that part will be due the 4th of April. So that is your part submission. So that's why we should be getting it soon, because obviously we 5 weeks or so away from the due date. So if it's not released by the end of the week, I will push and I will ask for them to make sure that you are getting it as soon as possible. So I've always got your guys' backs. I always will push, and if you guys need stuff and all that kind of thing, I will query and I will make sure that we get things as soon as possible. Okay. So pleasure. What I want you guys to focus on when you're looking at Learning Unit 1 in particular is there is a lot of content in Learning Unit 1 about the history of SA media. You looking at the whole chapter, breaking it down in terms of quite a lot of detail. So it's the whole of chapter 1, history of South African media. And what I want you guys to think about is not necessarily understanding, because this is a portfolio and it's not a written exam, it's not a take-home exam, it's nothing like that. It's more about a good general understanding of the content, understanding the context of the media environment, and the whole reason why we study our past is to understand our present. So it's not about knowing every single little thing that happened in every single date. Highlight it if you want for highlighting in a book. Write down timelines, whatever works for you. But it's about understanding the South African context as a whole, and then about understanding certain aspects of it. So, for example, when we look at the different commissions where they were stepping in to try and make our media within South Africa more ethical. The dates when big changes happened. So, when we were allowed to have TV in South Africa, or when we were able to, when the South African media started to push back on the South African government to stand up against the apartheid regime and what happened. So when you are working through your Learning Unit 1, break it down into, so it does within the textbook break it down into these set sections, but think about the generalized aspect of it. Jot down the more important dates, where they say big changes happened, but don't try and get down to every single nitty-gritty detail, because you'll be summarizing the whole learning unit and you're going to be answering a 20, 30, it's going to be it should be out of 100, but you're going to be answering one essay or a few short questions or whatever it may be. And if you go into every single little detail at this stage, you are going to overwhelm yourself. You're going to have too much information. And so rather have a better understanding of the whole, and then I will start breaking down aspects with you. And then when the POE part document gets released, then I will then hone in on those certain sections. So I would rather you have an understanding of the media environment as a whole, and then in our collabs we can hone in and focus on certain aspects that are really important within our media history, because the whole idea again is understanding our past to understand our present, to know why our media is the way it is today. Does that make sense to you guys? I know it seems weird, your lecturer saying to you, you know, don't go into hectic detail yet, but it'll come. I just want you to understand what happened during the apartheid era. And I know we all, I don't know, so a lot of people are sick of discussing apartheid and all that kind of thing, but our media and what happened during that time, it's really important to understand why the media today fights so hard to make sure that people don't mess with the truth and try and be as objective as possible. So it's important to understand that, to see where people are coming from today, and then how all the different theories from around the world and that relate to us as a country. So in Media One, we do a lot of the SA media focus. There will be times where we'll be able to draw in international stuff. And the one thing I will say to you guys is start keeping track of what's going on in the media. And when I talk about the media, I'm not only talking about the news. I'm talking about celebrities, I'm talking about movies, I'm talking about series, I'm talking about magazines, I'm talking about online as well as, you know, hard copies. Every bit of information that is being flung at you daily, social media, other forms of media, all of that, we will be using it all. Okay, it's all about seeing how the stuff affects you in the real world, because there's not a single one of us that isn't affected by the media in some way, shape, or form. Whether you choose to use social media or not, whether you choose to watch series, movies, it's every billboard that's up, it's every flyer that gets released, all of it is media. So we tend to think about social media when we think media, but what I want you guys to understand is it's everything that is getting shown to you on a minute by minute, second by second basis. Or, you know, if you are one of those people lucky enough to hide away from their phones or whatever it may be for a bit, it can be, you know, day by day. But we're all influenced by media. And I will often start lectures with going, so what's been going on? What have you been watching? What have you found interesting? So it's important to know what's going on around us in terms of the media, because then it means we can have a bit of fun talking about it as well. So we're not just talking about arb theories for an hour. We can go, this is the theory. Oh, did you watch this? Or have you seen this? And we can make it more real for you guys. And also all that stuff that you're taking in. There's sections within your portfolio where you'll be able to incorporate different aspects and do a bit of research into different aspects of the media that you enjoy that you can incorporate in. So it's good to start having a finger on the pulse and know what's happening around you, because it gives you a little bit of a break from the usual, you know, covering hundreds of theorists and all that kind of thing. So just know that I will start incorporating that kind of thing into our lectures. Okay. Questions, guys? Seems I've heard my voice solidly for almost 40 minutes. Any questions to do with anything with media studies? No, nothing too big or too small. Oh, ICE due date, I will have when we know when they're due. What I would say is work through them during the semester. If you have questions while you're working on them, please feel free to ask me. And then I do one big due date at the end of the semester when everything has to be in. Because again, I know life does happen, and sometimes, you know, getting to a set due date can be difficult. But if it's something that I need to discuss in class, I'll say to you guys, hey, make sure that you've looked at this ICE task because we might need it for the next class or what have you. Okay. I don't often do that too much because obviously I give you more options than you have to do. So, you know, there might be an ICE task you really don't want to do and you want to do the others. But as long as four are done, you're good in terms of ICE. So you can choose out of those ones that are there. Right. All right. If there are no more questions, guys, then that's us for tonight. I'll open up the WhatsApp group this evening so that you are free to chat with me now that we've all said hi and ground rules have been set. And then, yeah, when you need me, let me know, okay? And I will constantly send out announcements, and I'll keep you updated on WhatsApp as well and keep things going. How many key points per approach is okay? Should be referenced as well. Jamie, yes, all ICE tasks do need to have referencing. And then in terms of how many you need, it's got to do more with how your brain works and how you, I'm again tripping over my own words. It's how you combine information. So because they're ICE activities, I'm not expecting every single bit of information. I want you more to have the general approach. So I would say, I'm trying to think. Kyrie, if you go, sorry, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right. If you go click on the OneDrive link at the top of the description on WhatsApp, you'll be able to access the notes here, or you can if you go look under, I think it's share files your size, you'll be able to download the notes now as well, because I have uploaded them to the Collab tonight. 8 down, like 8 separate key points. Yeah, Jamie Lee, that's more than enough. I was thinking about 5, so 8's perfect. That's what I was just going to say. It depends on how you group it. So some people like to group and have a couple of bits of information per point. But if you've got 8, you are absolutely fine. Okay. Other questions? Kayuri, are you saying they're not showing on Collab or in the OneDrive? Okay. Because I made sure. Okay. You meant to be able to download. Is it not letting you? Oh, you know what? Let me just click on it. Here. Let me do this. And then it should be able to, you meant to be able to download them without me sharing them. But let's see if this, they might have changed Collab. Again, sorry, this is my first Collab of the semester. And things might have changed. There we go. All right. Do you want me to go through? There's 3 sets. Do you want me to do them so that you can download them here? Okay. Perfect. Cool. All right. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have it's a pleasure. I hope you guys all have a good evening. I will share this in the morning. Collab, generally this later session takes a while to upload it. But yeah, I'll chat to you guys all soon and have a great evening.